Hi everyone, it is Monday morning and I'm here live for our Luke devotional. I won't start yet because I want to see if anyone wants to watch me live. I hope you've had a really good weekend. It's been gloriously sunny again. I'm really blessed that I'm staying with my parents during lockdown, and that means that they've got lots of lovely walks around them. They live in a really nice little village, and we go on a walk every day and we find something new every day, and it's really exciting. And it's really nice to be out in nature and seeing things. Oh, I have a viewer. Can't see who you are, but hi. Oh, two viewers. Right, well, I'll start in a minute. We're reading today from Luke chapter 9. We're reading from verses 10 to 17. It's a really well-known passage. It's the feeding of the 5,000. You'll all know it before I've read it. But sometimes I find actually when you read it, especially with these well-known stories, you actually come across bits that you didn't know because you learn the stories. Certainly I did. I learned the stories in Sunday school and I teach it to the kids in Livewise all the time. And maybe I teach it without really checking with the Bible, and I teach it from my memory. And my memory is not always that good. So, oh great, no viewers now. Sorry everyone. Sorry if I offended you. Neil. Hi Neil. And Karen. Hi Karen. Great. Actual viewers. Amazing. I guess I'll make a start. This will be saved afterwards anyway, so you can view me at a later date if you want to. But for those of you viewing me live, hi, here I am in the office. We're reading from Luke chapter 9. Hi Karen. Luke chapter 9 verses, what did I say, 10 to 17, the feeding of the 5,000. So let's have a look. Cough. Okay. When the apostles returned, they reported to Jesus what they had done. Then he took them with him, and they withdrew by themselves to a town called Bethsaida. But the crowds learned about it and followed him. He welcomed them and spoke to them about the kingdom of God and healed those who needed healing. Late in the afternoon, the 12 came to him and said, "Send the crowd away so they can go to the surrounding villages and countryside and find food and lodging because we are in a remote place here." He replied, "You give them something to eat." They answered, "We have only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, unless we go and buy food for all this crowd." About 5,000 men were there. But he said to his disciples, "Have them sit down in groups of about 50 each." The disciples did so, and everyone sat down. Taking the 5 loaves and 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke them. Then he gave them to the disciples to distribute to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. So like I said, it's a really well-known passage. I'm pretty sure it's one of the miracles that appears in all the Gospels, which means we can see it from a few different point of views if we wanted to. And often when I read it, or certainly when I teach it, I talk about the little boy, that the disciples found the food from the little boy. I don't actually know which version, which Gospel that's in. If anyone knows, you can let me know. But it didn't mention that in Luke. It just mentioned that the disciples had 5 loaves and 2 fish. And actually, I guess that works a bit better for us. Chris is here. Chris, you're meant to be in a meeting. I've just left the meeting you're in. But for me, what I think of when I think of this passage is, well, Jesus had just come from, if you read it in Matthew, he'd just come from hearing about John the Baptist. That's his cousin dying. You know, he would have been in a place of grief, but even in his grief, he had compassion for those people. And he asked the disciples to do something. He could have just fed everybody. He could have done that. He's God. He's Jesus. He can do whatever he wants, really, can't he? But he doesn't just do it. He expects the disciples to do something first. And that's the same for us. God can do a miracle in your life. God could do anything with your life, but he wants you to do something first. And he doesn't care how small it is. For those disciples, 5 loaves, 2 fishes, that was a ridiculous thing to offer. There were 5,000 men, and of course we know that that means there were probably women and children with them as well. 5 loaves and 2 fishes, that's really not going to go very far, is it? It wouldn't even have fed the 12 disciples. So it was incredible that Jesus wanted them to give what they had. And that's really what Jesus is saying to us. He says, I don't care how small you think what you've got is. I don't care if you think that you're useless. I don't care if you think that, well, I don't really have anything to offer. He can use that, and all he asks is that you give it to him, and that you hand it over to him, and that you say, do you know what, this is what I got. It's not a lot, but can you do something with it? And he will, because he's God, and he could do it without it, but he wants to do it with you. So yeah, this week, make sure you're giving everything to God, even if you think it's not worth anything, because it really is. Okay, thanks guys.